right, what's good, everybody? It's your boy TCG Junkie right here at Game Guys Entertainment. I am here 2 days after Anime to Life with Seth Webb, who took 3rd place.
Yeah.
And we're about to get into his deck profile. Y'all stay tuned.
All right, I went X1 this week. I lost to Willista, and I was playing MushiKing. MushiKing's really good this format. Ironically, it hasn't gotten really any support except for the Festival Booster stuff and like Energy Cyclers. But I'll break down the deck because it plays kind of weird.
Okay, before you break down the deck, what were all your matchups for this tournament?
All right, we played. I played some of my opponents twice because the rounds went so quickly. I played Prison round 1, beat them, got a clap back against Prison, won that one too. Round 2, I played a different Prison player and did the same thing, went 2-0 against them. Then I played Willista, and I made a gamble that did not pay off in like turn 9. It just lasted for way too long, and he got that game. And then last round I played Raziel twice and won both of those games. So it's great.
So, you almost went undefeated. So
yeah. Prison's definitely the deck's hardest matchup, and it was not that bad.
Okay. All right, so let's get into it.
All right, Grade 0 is different than all the other Grade 0s in the game. It does not let you draw a card going second, but it does give you a crest, which makes the whole deck function. All of the cards, including the rest of the Rye deck, are vanillas. They have little symbols in the corner that correspond with some orders that you get off of the crest that give them effects, but you tap the orders to give the cards effects. So they don't actually do anything on their own, which means like if you're playing against Blagmire and they negate your Vanguard, it doesn't matter because you're going to give it an effect off of the order anyway.
All right.
So it's weird. So this lets you get 3 orders out from deck. The ones I use correspond with the units we're using. So we use Machine Gun Punches, Rolling Clutch Hold, and Super Tornado Throw. So these basically, you tap them on for the grade that they are when your rear guards attack, and you give them extra attack and effects. The way that I'm building this one, the only one that's going to get effects is Machine Gun Punches. This is just a plus 10 to like a Grade 2 or a potentially Grade 1. This gives plus 15 to a specific Grade 1 unit. So your early game becomes like swing for 8 for Vanguard, swing for 23, like base numbers.
Wow.
So it's the early game is how you win with this deck. But basically, you go right into Grade 1, you get the crest, you get these orders out, so you're deck thinning 3 cards immediately. And then all of your Mushis, you can Soul Blast 1, look at top 5 for a card with a barcode on it, so like the MushiKing cards, and just add it to your hand. So you're deck thinning as the game goes along, so you're hitting more triggers more often. And the whole gimmick of this deck is to use Machine Gun Punches, which is basically turns your Vanguard into Overlord. So it's twin drive, restands, 1 drive check if you discard a Machine Gun Punches. But we can do some other fun stuff to do basically 5 drives in 1 turn consistently.
Wow.
So that's the game plan. The red line is basically what it is. 3 orders that we search. We're playing 3 Persona. Often, if I'm going second, I'll even discard this card because we usually win going second before we get to Persona Ride turn. So it doesn't even matter. It's also just good to like deck thin because we need those numbers off the top just to take cards out of our deck. We're playing 3 Peristag Beetle, or 4 Peristag Beetle and 4 Japanese Beetle. These are our beat sticks. Rolling Clutch gives this plus 10, so it's 20k on turn 2.
Oh my god.
And you can Soul Blast 1 voluntarily to stun a rear guard, which means it won't untap during their turn. So it kind of forces them to like switch their column. If you're playing against a deck that has like a lot of restanders, you can swing with a Peristag and stun a restander, so it won't be able to attack once or twice again next turn, so it'll be tapped still. They'll have to like call over to remove it. And Japanese Beetle is a 23k beat stick if you tap this. It has to attack this, you can't boost with it. But basically you're making columns like this for like 31, or mostly your setup is like Grade 3 and then these 2 cards for like 20, 23 on their own. It's really stupid. Yeah, it's great. Normally in the other builds, you would run more of this so that you could give Japanese Beetle drive checks.
Yeah.
But it costs 2 counter blasts and you have to discard a copy of it. So if you don't have the counterblast for it and your hand is kind of tight, it doesn't really matter. You're exchanging basically one card to draw a card off of drive checks. It's not really worth it.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, so I'm running also 3 flat stag beetles. This is new. It's not a new card, but it's new to the playstyle. Because I've had to fit in more non-engine cards or non-mushy cards, I needed something that would be another good rear guard just to make sure that I hit rear guards off the top 5 so I can actually do early game stuff. This is cool because it matches grade 1 for Super Tornado Throw. So you'll get plus 5k from it. So this is a 13 if you don't have to tap for Japanese Beetle on turn 1. And then turn 2, you can tap Rolling Clutch Hold for 10. So this becomes an 18. So it's basically just another number, but after I usually just put it behind this and it becomes a 28. And then if this dies, I move it up and this is an 18.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're just kind of assuring that you have rear guards to attack with. It kind of flattens the curve a bit. We're also playing the other 3 machine gun punches. You need this to discard off of the effect because you counterblast to do the restand, but to get the drive check on the second swing, you need to discard a copy of this, which is some of the synergy we'll see later on. We're also playing the God card in this deck. You need to see this card as fast as possible. This says discard an order, give your Vanguard +1 drive until the end of the turn, which means it's triple drive on the first swing, and if you have this, it's twin drive on the second swing.
Wow.
So this lets you get your 5 attacks. So basically, you can discard another copy of it, or one for machine gun punches. Basically, these are the only orders we're playing. But I never really have a hard time resolving these. You only really need to do it once, because 5 drive checks on turn 5. If you've already put them to like 3 or something from the early game, it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah.
But this card's your God card. You want to see that as fast as possible.
5 drive checks, that's nuts.
Here's the real sauce. We're running 4 energy cyclers and 2 of this. So this is what I would change in the future. I would cut one of the flat stags, one of this other grade 1, and one of this for 2 more copies of this card. This card is really insane. If you discard something during your turn, you can Energy Blast Thief, remove this from either field or drop, and add the discarded card back. So that could be ride cost, like if you discard this to draw a card, remove this, add it back so that you can do it again next turn, like if you need hand. Or even crazier, you have to discard this for your Vanguard swing, you can add it back for the next turn. Or even crazier, if you do this, you only need these 2 cards to hit the 5 drive checks. You activate this to discard, remove this to add it back to your hand, and then you have it for the restand effect. So you really only need these 2, and these are just free discards or 10k rear guards you can put behind your insane mushy numbers. So these will help you hit magic numbers, like your 23 becomes a 33 if you play this card, and then your 20 becomes 28 or 30, just depending on like if it's the turn you played this card or not. So this helps you facilitate a problem that the deck had before, which is hand size. So you're just adding your discards back, or if you save it for this combo, you can basically loop your continual drive checks as long as you have more copies of this card in your grade. So playing 4 is really, really good. I could only find 2 before the tournament, but every game that I resolved this, I won. It was not. This card's insane. So these are the new additions to the deck.
And you saw those 2 cards every game.
Pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah. You mean you're doing 5 drive checks and checking top card and adding it and drawing cards off of this all the time? So, like, you see basically your whole deck, and I'm not even gonna cap. You OT a lot. If you don't draw it, you're hitting it off of 5 drive checks. It's just statistical. Elementaria 3 PGs. Nothing to say about that. Running 8 crit because you're doing 5 drive checks and your Vanguard is going to restand. So you hit one off the first one, your Vanguard becomes a 33 with a crit with twin drive on the second swing. So it's really insane. It makes it harder for them to just kind of ignore your Vanguard and hit your big rears.
Make some early PG.
Yes.
A lot.
3 draw. We still need that hand size, and if you're drawing 5 drive checks and 2 of them are draws, you're drawing 7 cards on like turn 3.
Wow.
So it's nuts. 4 heal, 1 Stoicheia OT. I think I saw this 3 games, and that's not anything luck-wise. If you don't draw it, you will hit it. Like you hit so many drive checks, you're gonna hit it.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts. Is there anything that you probably would change for the deck other than the changes you said during video?
I think that's just it. I think that discard grade 1 is really insane for the deck, and being able to max out on that helps you with your grind game, because normally without cards like that, you would do the 5 drive checks once and then hope that you draw like more machine gun punch copies, or you would brick on like the rest of the Zorga orders. So it just feels kind of bad. But being able to get those discards back and kind of manipulate your hand even while you're having to discard cards just helps the deck engine run further and further. Late game is your weakness with this deck, and that helps to cover at least some of the weakness as long as you have a copy of it engraved. So it just feels really good. That's all the changes I would make.
All right. Did some of your opponents kind of feel kind of salty getting beat by a late arch type?
Yeah.
It's nothing from recent set, you know?
Prison had kind of a hard time. I know one of my opponents had played against me before, and I was playing the Mushroom grade 1 that lets you put it into Soul and gives you 2 token rear guards. And he was kind of excited for me to do that so he could take those tokens away from my field by imprisoning them. It doesn't increase his prison count, it does remove 2 of my rear guards that are kind of necessary. And because I'm playing the new grade 1 instead, it didn't really matter, and that was pretty great. 5 drive checks still kills prison, so.
Thanks. So, like, with this kind of, like, with this deck, it's kind of like a new refresh for like megacolony. Would you say?
A little bit, yeah.
All right.
It feels really good.
I'm really feeling the beetles, bro. This is a pretty interesting deck profile. I appreciate you showing us.
It's also very cheap. If you're gonna build it at home, if you don't have the money for energy cyclers, you can replace them with some other maybe early game cards like the mushroom or something. And the deck's like $30.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really cheap.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Seth, for showing us your deck profile.
No problem, man.
Like I said, and everybody watching, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And y'all can check out my boy Seth. I think he has his own channel if you want to like tag that in right now.
All right, we'll do.
All right, but we'll catch y'all later. This is TCG Junkie right here at Game Guys Entertainment. We out.